Welcome to the Daily Space Weather, folks. We are streaming live to Twitch and creating a death loop. Sorry about that. We're starting out the Daily Space Weather by looking at the local yellow dwarf in 193 angstroms. And I don't know why we're playing that again. Alright, the sound man is fired. Alright, anyway, there's the sun in 193 angstroms. Very large coronal hole there associated with the South Pole as well as the equatorial Earth-facing portion. And we're getting hit with some solar wind right now. It looks like the beginning of a coronal hole wind stream just hitting as we did the video. So once again, going into geomagnetic unrest possibly. And we're already up to a KP3. We'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, that's a 48-hour image. Here's HelioViewer looking at the fields and 171 angstroms, which is ionized iron. And there you see what's going on with that. And the magnetic fields. We do see some filamentary activity in the northwestern portion. I think it might have collapsed again. By the way, if you didn't see our video yesterday, the Diamond Anvil Too Hard to Smash Episode 2. Go check that out. Or perhaps our review on Steak on Burger, because that Willie Joe's is a real SOB making restaurant. And please don't forget to press like and subscribe and share on your social media. Now, we've been having some problems with BitChute. Our last two uploads don't seem to process for whatever reason, so I understand BitChute. You got to be patient with BitChute a little bit, folks. We get a lot more views over there than we do on YouTube, by the way, somehow. So perhaps check us out over there, as there will be more and more exclusive content coming out. Please subscribe over there and help all tech out by just being a subscriber and viewing the content. You'll see less censorship and less shadow bans and less nonsense going on BitChute. So support alt tech. Now, I'm also on Instagram. I went bike riding yesterday. Here's a tidbit.
And it's the final climb with the hot pick.
So if you're on Instagram, check it out. I say smart things like strong men make good times make weak men make bad times make strong men. Repeat, recycle, reduce the BS, pick a side, and F the phonies. Don't put your ethics at risk. Also, we are on Facebook, and I just posted something over there. It's facebook.com/smAsho. We put up robotized liquid metallic hydrogen solar model, so if you want to share it with anybody who doesn't view the content, for instance, just send them this post. I like that. In fact, I love that. So go share that with your peeps if they haven't read the liquid metallic hydrogen solar model. This is a link to the forum, and we'll talk about that at a later time. Also, we are on Minds, which is a great alternative to Facebook if you're sick of the nonsense over at Facebook. This is pretty uncensored here, which is why I can't show you the news feed, because you never know what people will post. However, they're pretty good at putting up not safe for work tags on things, and it's pretty good. We're approaching 650,000 views over there, so we get a lot of profile views per subscriber. So we've only got 739 subscribers, but we've got 645,000 profile views, so that's a good thing, folks. And thanks for everybody who's subscribed over there. By the way, we need more tokens. We're almost out. We're down to almost 10 tokens, so Divided States or whoever could possibly send some, we would be much obliged if you did so again. We burned through a hell of a lot of tokens, and we don't boost our posts every day over there. Anyway, back to the sun here. We see some kind of a sprite. Oh, and there's some filamentary activity there too. You can see some sort of a filamentary collapse going on around this area. There's a big rope of plasma up there. That's the helium wavelength, 304 angstroms. That's ionized helium emission spectra. And yeah, so there's quite a bit of filamentary activity going on. There are no kind of Earth-facing coronal mass ejections at the current time. Let me see if I can get that sprite. Man. When was that? Let's see. Maybe we can catch it on a different scope. Bear with me. Oh, there it was. Check that out. Right in this area right here. I'll bring that back again. You see that? That's a. It looks like it's in the foreground actually, but if it's where the sun is, it's big. Check it out. Might have to put that on the thumbnail. I probably won't be able to pause this there. It's never easy to do that, folks, believe it or not. Anyway, let's get on to more data here as we got a lot of stuff to blast through. KP index up to 3, and I wouldn't be surprised if this went into geomagnetic unrest or even geomagnetic storm conditions as we see a significant strike on the magnetosphere. 10.7 centimeter radial flux, a good proxy for sunspot number, is still at 69, so it came down 1 solar flux unit from yesterday, I believe. Next, looking at the location of planets in the solar system. Approaching a new moon, there's where things will be in a week. On 4/27/2020. What a date that is, huh? 4/20/2020? 4/20/2020? Can you say that fast? 4/20/2020. 4/20/2020. 4/20/2020. All right, and there you've got a star chart from in-the-sky.org. Where were you when Cygnus rose? Do you understand why it's relevant? Next, looking at the X-ray flux, we see a flatlined X-ray flux. And if you think I look like a Covidiot, I do look like a Covidiot. And only a Covidiot like me would come at you from behind the toilet paper mic. Putting out information about things like proton flux. Because we like you a lot. Next, looking at the real-time solar wind, we see all kinds of shiftiness in the phi angle, an indication of fleeting magnetic connections with coronal hole systems, most likely. And then we see the BT-BZ go into extreme mode. So the BT total field all the way up to 15. We see the scale expanded. Extreme solar magnetism right there is what you see. And it is all associated with that South Pole coronal hole. If coronal holes cause earthquakes, that's when it's causing an earthquake, because that's exactly the situation. High magnetism and south-oriented BZ. So there you go. Negative 14 on the BZ and 15 plus 15 on the BT. That's a total field. So super strong field, totally associated with that coronal hole in the South Pole. The South Pole coronal hole. So it looks like we've already seen the density spike here, and it's come back down. We had a sustained density of over 32 protons per cubic centimeter there, and now it's coming down off the high, so we're expecting to see the speed jump up to probably 500 or 600 kilometers a second at least. I wouldn't be surprised to see full geomagnetic storm conditions. That's a significant increase there. Current stats, 7.2 protons per cubic centimeter, 367 kilometers a second is the speed. And there's the data from ACE, and it's looking non-corroborative. So we're wondering if we're seeing a damaged particle collector here at the ACE. Next, we're looking at the geospace magnetosphere movies, and we're going to look at all 3 of them this time because there's a big strike on here, and here's the view from velocity perspective. The strike is kind of right in the middle of the movie, I believe. Right there. That's actually kind of the... Oh, there we go. We see some velocity striations coming in there as a result of plasma striking the magnetosphere. And here we see a very dense environment there. Keep in mind, folks, density is... We're showing blue is high density and white is low density. You see very high density there, and a lot of pressure. And here's the view from pressure that we usually look at. And you can see when this subsides, you're going to see a whole bunch of pressure go out of the magnetotail, and that's what you would expect it to do. What you wouldn't expect it to do is interact with Nibiru, because Nibiru's not there. So here you're going to see right at the end, you see the bow shock pressure drops way down, and then the magnetotail pressure drop goes way up. And that's how it seems to work, folks. As this looks like a real model, consistent with a lot of very interesting emerging theories. And we'll let that play through a second time as we see some extended pressure situations. Next, we're going to look at the a little closer to home here. We're going to look at the geospace ground magnetic perturbations on the globe view as well as the polar view. And there you can see a big magnetic perturbation coming out of the western Indian Ocean there, near Madagascar. A lot of perturbation there over the Canadian pole. And I gotta say, it looks like evidence that there may be two south poles. I mean, I don't have magnetometers down there, can't say for sure, but we've been seeing, when we get a big perturbation like this, we've been seeing big perturbation over there south of South America. So that's interesting, to say the least. Next, we'll look at the polar view. As you would expect, well, there could be the possibility that we could end up with two poles in the north and one in the south, and then two poles in the north and two poles in the south, and that could be a way that things could progress into a weaker and weaker magnetosphere. Anyway, here's the polar view, and you're going to see this is going to look like a spiral. And that has to do with the way, I believe, electrons are coming out of the planet. And I won't get into the cosmology of it because this is the daily space weather. And you can see it looks like a spiral there, as there is some charge equalization happening. And check out the magnetometer data. We're seeing very low magnetometer, and that is a result of the coronal hole wind stream, which is nearly here in its entirety. So we're going to see an increase in the solar wind speed as a result of that coronal hole wind stream throughout the day. Again, I'd say 500 or 600 kilometers per second at least, and that would put us in geomagnetic storm conditions most likely. Here's the so you can see some power grid failures just when you don't want to see power grid failures because people are losing their you-know-what. All right, so here's the Gong 2 data, and we see a little bit of a peek through of the North Pole up in this area, or at least a charge down to the south polar portion of the field. See that little flip there. Otherwise, no sign of green. The whole current sheet is charged up by the South Pole, the South Solar Polar Field. Here's the line of sight field plot. Keep in mind the data is 1 hour and 36 minutes old, and the magnetic environment can change very suddenly. In other words, a sunspot could pop up and no warning. All right, so electrons are at very low levels. We see very weak Van Allen belts, and you can see very low, greater than 2 mega electron volt density there, and probably in about 48 hours, I'll say 2 days from now, we're going to see this come back up, and depending on factors that I won't get into, we'll see this get back up to probably higher levels than the last peaks would be my guess. Here is the GOES electron flux, and you can see this is still cratered. These will both remain very low throughout the entirety of the coronal hole wind stream. So here's the total electron content forecast, and we expect to see not a lot of GPS errors and not a lot of satellite drag. We used to cover satellite drag, but it's just not really relevant. The people that are operating the satellites aren't worried about what we have to say, so maybe in a couple of months. Anyway, here's the 6 hours of the ionosphere. So now we're looking at the ionosphere getting a little bit closer to Earth. And actually those GOES satellites are measuring these things at the ionosphere layer, or attempting to. So there's 6 hours of data from that. Here's the latest image. And it's looking pretty normal there. Actually quite discharged on the nighttime side, and no surprise there with what's going on in the magnetosphere. which is zoomed much farther out than the ionosphere. Anyway, next we're going to windy.com to look at the pressure maps. And part of the reason we do this is for our earthquake forecasters who know what an anomalous low pressure zone looks like, as well as to show people what the weather will likely be like. We'll let that advance till about noon tomorrow. And there's where pressure will be around noon tomorrow on a planet-wide scale. Next, we're going to do a cosmology segment very quickly. There's two stories that I just wanted to briefly talk about. The precession of black holes, first of all, which it wouldn't be surprising to anybody who considers a black hole just a type of star. And we try to call black holes massive radio sources. And I've been doing that since the mid-90s. I didn't really fully understand why to call black holes massive radio sources back then, but it's because you need to use observations to govern your astronomy. Not bad math and bad models, but in any case, it turns out that black holes precess, and they have wobbly orbits, and they do things like this, which really, I don't know why that would be a surprise to anybody, but they have precessional features the same way the Earth's rotation has precessional features, and that's news. Apparently, California Nebula, a giant Spitzer image has been released of the California Nebula here, and I don't know what happened there. I scrolled at like light speed. Please leave a comment if you are silly enough to think that electrons travel at light speed. Man, oh man, I'm having like mental deficiencies today. I don't know what's up with it. All right, so anyway, there's the very large image of the California Nebula, and I don't know how much that'll blow up. Oh, it actually did blow up a bit. Nice. I just want to see if I see certain features that I wouldn't expect to see in there, and indeed I don't see those features. Links will not be to the article below the video. Just head to phys.org and go to the astronomy and space section and you'll find it. They don't really print a lot of stuff. They don't really print a lot of stuff on the weekends on phys.org. Oh, check it out. Milky Way could be catapulting stars into its outer halo, astronomers said. And of course I would expect it to be doing that as stars orbit other stars and things. Next we're going to look at the last 24 hours of earthquakes. Starting with a deep quake at Russia, it's a 4.2 magnitude. Next we see a deep quake at the South Sandwich Islands. It's a 4.9 magnitude. Right around the 100 kilometers mark, that one came in at 12 noon yesterday, April 19th. I don't think we see anything over a 6 here. I'm just going to scroll up. More quakes around Idaho. Here's a quake 900 meters above sea level near Bodie, California. Oh, and indeed there was another 6 magnitude plus quake. There's a 6.3 at Japan. Pagers show green. Vanuatu sees a deep quake of 5.2 magnitude at 109 kilometers. That one came in at 34 minutes after 0 hour today on 4/20. The day where people will ask you if you think all drugs should be legalized. Lastly, we see 2 deep quakes coming in as I did show prep. It's a 4.6 at Japan, much farther south of that, much farther south than that 6.3, but it is at depth. And a deep quake at Alaska, 3.0 magnitude. And we moved on to the, oh my God, I'm so scared and animated that I'm just terrified and horrified, and I'm just really, really spooked and scared. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to burn that thing to a crisp like that. See that's going on there. That thing is getting. There we go. So yeah, I just burned it up, and thanks, son. I'll see you in a couple hours there, Chief. All right. So. Let's see. Yeah, those are some pretty strong perturbations, but it's not It's not geomagnetic unrest conditions yet, be stoic. So it's we see the density. Usually we get the strongest conditions as a result of the velocity. So watch the velocity ramp up today. If it gets to 500, we'll most definitely get into at least geomagnetic unrest KP4 conditions. And have you been to smAsho.org? Well, if not, welcome to the Neo-Renaissance. And we've got a lot of stuff to talk about, so no screwing around here. So head to the forums, smAshomash.com/forum. That's smAshomash.com/forum. We've got all kinds of interesting stuff around there, like sections on the coronavirus, and we've just gotten over 10,000 views, and we're up to 332 users. So if you want to contribute, set up a login, please. It's completely free. You can view it without setting up a login also, and you can share the posts. We put compendiums of information on there. Check out this insanity. I was going to put this one in the insanity files, but I didn't know if I wanted to do that. So there you go. It's a Zero Hedge article about a rocket firing from a plane and killing a bunch of people. Here's the image. A bad day in Chad. And if you're wondering if that was intentional, I highly doubt it, because if you notice the trajectory of that rocket, watch. Check it out. The rocket went right through that empty tanker. It went right through the empty tanker, and then it yawed to the right, and it struck the top military commander of Chad's house, killing a bunch of people in there. For some reason, a fully armed plane fired a missile. It was a Su-25, I believe. Yeah. A Russian Su-25. Too crazy. I didn't post it in forums at all. Anyway, we're on to the volcano portion. Buchaskoy's erupting. 22,000 foot plume there. Aso's erupting. 3,200 foot plume there. Kachinurabu Jima, flight level 3,000. Semaru, flight level 13,000. Takono, flight level 7,000. Popocatépetl, flight level 20,000. Fuego, looks like 14 to 15,000 foot plume there. Sangay exploding. And I'm taking this crap off my face because it's ridiculous. Sangay exploding. And Revenador exploding, producing 20,000 and 16,000 foot ash plumes. And I moved on to the I'm touching my face section. Have you ever heard of carbonyl sulfide? Well, it's a beneficial chemical that makes plants grow better and makes your food healthier that comes out of volcanoes. Sounds crazy, right? Well, it's part of the sulfur cycle, which is very poorly understood in terms of how volcanoes contribute. So, next time you see a volcano, tell it thanks for the greener plants. So, while they are a global colding input, they do a lot of things that people don't understand in the slightest. Anyway, back to the list here. Sabancaya is exploding as well, producing a 30,000 foot ash plume, which is an uptick there at Sabancaya. Please do not attempt to pole vault the caldera. It could be an unhealthy time. Next, we're going to touch my face 4,000 times, and I'm going to touch my face as much as I like, whether I'm in public or wherever I am. It's therapeutic. I like touching my face, and I'm not concerned in the slightest that it's going to do anything to me. And I did print a retraction in the Covidiots section, as I must have become a Covidiot, and if you didn't watch the YouTube video about it, I admit when I'm wrong, okay? Governor Tom Wolf's middle name is not Sucks the Dick of a. Cape Town fires rubber bullets at and tear gas as South African food shortages spark riots and looting. So there's that. And yeah, don't covidiotically sit on top of an armored vehicle like this in a spot with your feet on the windshield frame, because you never see the U.S. military doing that, and there's a reason. Although he's got a very nice machine gun there. That's I believe that's called a PKR, and those things are very nice. Anyway, so yeah, there's some food problems going on in South Africa, and they're not handling it well, as there are all kinds of schisms in their society, and I won't get into it. Have you read the Swiss propaganda research page? Well, head to swprs.org if you haven't. swprs.org. Scroll down, click on Fakten zu Covid-19, and you may be interested in some of the information on there, as there's been a lot of propaganda on the internet where people who don't understand the first thing about SARS, which is, by the way, SARS-CoV-2. It's if anybody tells you it's not like SARS, it's literally SARS. And speaking of people who don't seem to know anything about it, take it away, Dr. Levine. Oops.
Significant increase in the number of deaths due to COVID-19.
So here comes a public service message, and it's totally not alarmist at all, folks.
And I wanted to take some time to explain what this means for Pennsylvania. We are reporting an additional 276 deaths among those who have tested positive and those who are probable positive for COVID-19. These deaths did not happen overnight. They did not all occur in the last 24 hours. As I had mentioned previously, we are working to reconcile our data with information from several different sources. This includes our NEDS data reporting system, but also our...
Anyway, we don't have time to play the whole video for you, folks. If you want to watch it yourself, it's Dr. Rachel Levine, former college football linebacker, updates coronavirus data. So anyway, on smAsho.com/forum, if you want to read our giant compendium, which has been updated nearly every day since January 23rd, just head to smAsho.com/forum, scroll down here, click on the word coronavirus. We've made that a pinned post. And here's the latest: scenes of protests across the country demanding states reopen the economy. And I'm going to let this scroll as the photographs speak for themselves. As I believe the only non-essential business is the government. And we're coming at you from the Smash Bunker, but not for much longer, because we're sick of being in the Smash Bunker. And we just saw Alex Jones. Yes! Oh, I love Alex Jones. So all around the country, folks, are you feeling essential? Are you feeling like dressing like a ninja today? Anyway, let's take a nice steel pen like this one and go on that thing. You crush like little bug, yes? You crush like little bug. You go out in sunlight like this, and then you go boom, and things like this. You crush like bug, it go boom, it go, and then you're good to go. So don't treat it as Fisher Price, my first pandemic. Treat it as somebody who knows what the hell you're talking about. If you've ever done any research or reading or understanding of virology and infectious diseases and so on, it doesn't need to be like Fisher Price, your first pandemic. And let me tell you, this thing has put me into a very weird situation where I had to really put my money where my mouth was, as the risk was I could die if I did the things that I said I would do, and I did them. And guess what? I've survived a global pandemic so far. So did your ancestors. Don't be a Covidiot. Please leave a comment if you think Covidiots will be the word of the year. Covidiots. Covidiots for word of the year. Is that even a thing? If it's not a thing, we're making that a thing. Here are the jet streams of the eastern world. Here are the jet streams of the western world. Here are water vapor maps. Water vapor maps for 420 for both Europe and Africa. Water vapor maps for the Far East and Oceania on today, 4/20/2020. Lightning maps. Have you ever been to lightningmaps.org? What? No? Check it out. Charleston. There's thunder rolling in. Scare your friends. Scare your foes. Forecast thunder at lightningmaps.org. It's good times. Here's a U.S. Doppler radar map. a bunch of ground-based systems that indeed do fire microwaves up into the air. And if the arrays are not correctly in motion, it does things, but we're not going to get into that. Anyway, some heavy storms that are over the Gulf of Mexico, as well as over southeastern Georgia and moving into southern South Carolina. Shout out to South Carolina. And next we're looking at U.S. water vapor map. And check out the convergence happening there in the Gulf. We'll have to zoom in on that zone. That's your weather. That's your weather pornography. Boom. Hey Diamond, are you watching? Boom. Check it out. That is a good one. I'll speed that up. Yowzers. If you're out shrimping with Forrest Gump, you may want to get below decks. Dag. Hey, Smash Team. Thanks for tuning in. And speaking of the Smash Team, thanks for leaving comments too, and so on. And I'd like to welcome the latest member of the Smash Team, David Moriello, a.k.a. Diamond from the Oppenheimer Ranch Project. Been doing some collaboration videos, but better yet, I feel like I've made a new friend. I feel like I've met a long-lost friend, actually. It's quite weird. So, cheers. If you haven't watched The Diamond Anvil, it is available on YouTube. Again, we've been having some problems uploading this one to BitChute, so it is on YouTube. And it's not on Twitch, so this one is exclusively on YouTube at the moment. It's been demonetized. We've requested a review, and I'm sure it will get remonetized, as there was nothing even controversial discussed, particularly. It was more just for fun, and it was fun. A lot of fun. By the way, all of our Patreon posts are public for the whole month, so it's basically free. We have uploaded Dr. Steelshank, if you want that MP3. So there it is. It's now 26 in the instrumental rock subgenre. Let's get that into the top 10. Go listen to it at soundclick.com/GoldenCatProductions. Dr. Steelshank. Shout out to Sam Afif. Read the paper on Robitaille, Dr. Afif. Read the paper on Robitaille. So anyway, there's links to that there. We always put up all of our video content on our crowdfunding pages. So perhaps check us out at both of those spots, as we will return to exclusive content for all tiers starting May 1st. Next, finally looking at the sun here, the intensity gram, we see no ombre, aka no sunspots. Here's the colorized magnetogram. Couple little slightly organized areas there, nothing resembling a sunspot. Basically just mixed fields all over the place. And let's break out one last 48-hour view here. It's the 171 angstroms, which is my personal favorite. And now I gotta personally vanish. Okay, so thanks for tuning in, folks. Remember to please share on your social media, as we'll be expanding and doing lots and lots of other things in the coming weeks, months, and years. Remember, stare at the sun, don't drink. Remember, don't be a Covidiot. Again, leave a comment if you think Covidiots will be the word of the year in 2020. And since it'll never be now again, may that solar wind be at your back.